And one challenge for sure is what I want to talk about first up, which is the issue of materials that are being taught, lessons taught to our children in schools, and whether or not parents have the right to see what is being taught in schools. I remember, I mean, my children are well grown up, but I remember sort of doing homework at sort of one of the grinds you come to, sort of helping young children, and you always saw what was being taught, you saw the books and things, but now it transpires that with regard to trans-sex education lessons, the Information Commissioner's Office has determined that actually parents do not have the right to see and hear what's being taught to their young children about trans-sex education. And I thought this was, frankly, pretty extraordinary, stroke disturbing. So I'm delighted now to be joined by Kellie-Jay Keen, who is a writer for The Spectator and founder of Standing for Women. Kellie, very good morning to you. Thanks for being with me on Tice Talk. Well, I have to say, I was gobsmacked when I read this piece in The Telegraph that the Information Commissioner has essentially sided with a particular college, the Haberdashers Hatcham College, in preventing parents being allowed to see what's being taught to their own children. What am I missing? What's going on here?
I don't think you're missing a damn thing. I think it's big red flags on that. If you're not prepared to share with adults and you're supposed to be loco parentis, then I suggest you're not really doing your job at all as a school. And as for the Information Commissioner's Office, I mean, what are they on? That's absolutely ludicrous.
I mean, it is extraordinary. So the detail here is that actually the college had outsourced the teaching of this particular lesson on sex education, trans-sex education, to a provider called the School of Sexuality Education, and that that school wanted to sort of protect its materials as though it had some form of protected patent. I mean,
something to hide. I would suggest if you've got nothing to hide, you're quite happy for parents to see it. But over the last, year or 2 years, we've had a theatre group trying to put naked adults on stages for children to teach them about sexuality. We've had a man attending and giving lectures about paedophilia, associated with a large trans lobby group masquerading as a children's campaigning group, and also in another charity that goes into schools, which I won't name for fear of any legal reprisal. One of their board of trustees is somebody who is a known paedophile apologist. So there's something really sinister going on, and if you don't want the scrutiny of adults about what their children are being taught, then I don't think you have any business to have anything to do with children whatsoever.
I think that's a really good point, that, what have they got to hide? Surely, I mean, ultimately, it's the content of what is being taught to students, to children, is the responsibility of the school. And it seems to me that's where the contract is. I have to say, I mean, if I was still a parent of a young child at school today and the college refused to provide it, I mean, I'd be very tempted to injunct to get confirmation of what's being taught. I would just think I know that's completely over the top, but I just think it's so extraordinary. They must have something to hide, Kellie.
Well, I don't know if it is over the top, I think it's going to take some really big strides in order to liberate parents from the grip of whatever this ideology might be. But I really do think it's now time that parents got very, very serious about this. We are teaching our children in 2022 that they can pretty much choose their biological sex and their gender, whatever that is, which I've never heard a definition that makes any sense, but that their gender is fixed and their biological sex is changeable. I mean, this is creating mental health problems, I think, for so big for in times to come. How confusing that we cannot even talk to children about fundamental truths like biological sex.
It really is. It's pretty disturbing. And it seems to have, in a sense, this seems to have grown so quickly in the last few years. Where did this start? You know, how long has this really been going on for?
Well, a lot longer than we've been allowed to know. So a lot of the changes have been very covert, quite handily illustrated by this particular case. But there's been a lot of activism behind the scenes. They've captured our civil servants. They've captured our police force, our NHS, education, universities. It pretty much really is everywhere. These sinister tentacles have a very, very far and wide reach. But also what we've been doing, which I think has made education particularly susceptible, is we've not been talking plainly to kids for a long time, and we've been gradually excluding parents from their children's education. I attended a meeting at a school the other night where my child, I mean, he's 13, but they were referred to as your young people. And I'm thinking, no, he's my child. I'm quite happy that he's called a child. He will be my child whether he's 14 or 45. And they are our children. They're not our young people. And I just feel there's a gradual severance of relationship type language, whether it's mother, child, whatever it is. And
Kelly, do you feel this is getting worse, or do you feel that we've identified it and we're close to stopping the rot, so to speak? Because I think in some other areas, sort of woke issues, I think we are making some progress. Or are you concerned that actually this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better?
Well, I'd say that you and me are probably making quite a lot of progress because we can see what's going on. And I think what happens as we unearth the beast, if you like, I think there will be some final throws, which I think will be really, really quite painful for everybody to finally understand what's going on. But it's the incremental changes brought about by predominantly female activists up and down the country, whether it be taking their employer to court. Some of us have been arrested, interviewed by the police, and we really have been raising the alarm. So I am really hopeful that once everybody hears about this, they will object to it. But when you have the likes of the BBC, ITV, Hollywood, mainstream social media, and clearly I don't include this channel, but social media, whilst they still have a grip on the consciousness of people's thoughts, I think we still really have a massive battle.
I think you're right, Kelly. Just one message that's come in here from another Richard, who says, Richard, you're talking about sex education. Unless you're an idiot, Richard, and can't see there's an agenda by the educational establishment, which is scary. His question is, who's pushing that agenda? What's your final thought on that, Kelly? Who's pushing this agenda?
Well, I think it's both nefarious individuals with malicious intentions, and I also think it's a whole bunch of incompetent, lazy people. So the combination is that people with nefarious reasons, they can get past this and they can utilize it for their own ends. And the lazy, incompetent education system, for example, who's outsourcing these sorts of materials, they are easy to capture.
Well, we've got to keep battling, and I know you are, Kelly, and many others. Thank you very much indeed for joining me this morning on Tice Talk. That was Kellie-Jay Keen, who is founder of Standing for Women,